Break that lane, I'm trying to make a name, but my sick thoughts got me by my brain. I'm searching for my how ironic how we hustle for the same, but get bracelets for trying to get a chain, and they want to take up.
Yeah, we're back trying to battle some of this misinformation spread by these conscious community personalities. Always talking about the slave trade didn't happen or it happened in reverse. So let's listen to this claim.
When we take a closer look at the transatlantic slave trade database, it appears that the vessels with the most slaves were shipped between different destinations in the Americas rather than from the continent of Africa to America. According to the Intra-American Slave Trade Database, in the year 1700, a ship captained by Charles Duval shipped 308 slaves from an unspecified location in the Americas to Cartagena, Colombia. In 1760, Thomas Lorraine shipped over 300 slaves on the vessel named Viper in 2 trips to Portobello, Panama.
My biggest problem with that is that they feel or they think that us viewers won't look this stuff up and we're just going to take what they say on face value. And it's very intellectually dishonest and disrespectful. But I had left a comment on here and the guy had the nerve to, he didn't even respond to it, he just erased it. So in my comment, I pointed out what I felt like needed to be addressed, which was that he pointed out ships that was, the intercontinental slave trade, but he tried to highlight that there was more people on these ships, which just isn't true. We could look at ships coming directly from Africa, going to the Americas or Europe, where they have more numbers. And I'm going to show just a couple today. Everybody can go to Slave Voyages and you could just look this stuff up yourself. We go over to the Slave Voyages website, to the Transatlantic Slave Trade Database. We will see slaves or enslaved people leaving from ports in Africa, going over to the Americas. All right, we got 1,700 people, 1,500 people, and these was in the 1800s. And so that dispels that right there. We even see one 1700s. But we're going to go over to what came directly to America and the numbers. And we'll see that those numbers are greater than what he presented in the video. Next, we're going to adjust our search results to look for ships that left from Africa and went to mainland America. And right here, we have 2 ships that left from Europe, went to Africa, and then brought their slaves to Charleston. And this happened in 1758 and 1784. And it was 764 and 611 on each one of those ships. The next one, we have one that left from Bristol, went to West Africa, and then went to the Upper James River in 1762 and had 512 people. So anybody can do this. You go to Slave Voyages, you adjust your search, you get your results. Especially people that watch these videos, they should check where these guys are getting this information from. Make sure they're not trying to feed you some agenda or some biased information that leads to a conclusion that they want you to believe, right? We're supposed to be woke, so we need to wake up, stop listening to what people telling us, right? So it's not a coincidence that the conscious community is not so conscious.
Break that lane, I'm trying to make a name, but my sick thoughts got me by my brain. I'm searching for my how ironic how we hustle for the same, but get bracelets for trying to get a chain, and they want to take up.
Today we're back trying to battle some of this misinformation. So today we're going to deal with Giovanni Verrazzano's claim in 1524 when he says the natives were dark like Ethiopians.
Flowing the Atlantic coast from Carolina up into the New York area, he had wrote a letter to Francis I, the King of France, in 1524, describing the Carolina Indians as being dark in color, not unlike the Ethiopians. Giovanni de Verrazano had described the Carolina Indians as exactly resembling the Ethiopians.
So what starts off as a harmless observation of some darker skinned people, this observation turns into ideology by the Black Aboriginals of America, where now Black Americans, they don't descend from West Africa. We was lied to, and now they descend from America. But they don't take into consideration who Verrazano was comparing these people to, and we're going to look at that. He says, they are dark in color, not unlike the Ethiopians, with thick black hair, not very long, tied back behind the head like a small tail. As for the physique of these men, they are well proportioned, of medium height, a little taller than we are. They have broad chests, strong arms, and the legs and other parts of the body are well composed. There is nothing else, except that they tend to be rather broad in the face, but not all, for we saw many with angular faces. They have big black eyes, an attentive and open look. They are not very strong, but they have a sharp cunning and are agile and swift runners. From what we could tell from observation in the last two respects, they resemble the Orientals, particularly those from the farthest Cenarian regions. So the first question should be, who are these Orientals and where's the Cenarian region that they're comparing these people to? But for some reason, all these memes and everything else leave that out. So when we look into who these Orientals are, they point us to the area of Asia, Southeastern Asia, specifically southeast of the Himalayas. And when we go and look at the people who are of this area, they don't look nothing like these American Negroes, nothing like these Aboriginal Americans, nothing like these Black Indians that are claiming this as a, look, see, this is proof that we've been here. This is not what you get from that. So when you take everything that they say in context and we do a correct analysis of the context of what we're reading, we do not come to this is the American Negro. We come to this is what these people look like, or they describe them as looking like. And that's it. I'm out. It's not a coincidence that the conscious community is not so conscious.
Break that lane, I'm trying to make a name, but my sick thoughts got me by my brain. I'm searching for my, how ironic how we hustle for the same, but get bracelets for trying to get a chain, and they want to take up.
So I had a conversation with the legendary Top Cat, and he asked a good question that I can, because of time, I didn't get the answer. So you're gonna hear his question, and I'm gonna briefly answer it, but there's more video to our conversation that I will be dissecting at another time.
That shit
He
there,
shot
dog.
you in
That
your
shit
mouth
dead.
and you change the
My shit
subject.
up there,
You sit
nigga.
down.
My shit
Hey,
up
so
there,
look.
nigga, like my family
All right.
records, like he trying to go through, nigga.
All right,
Go
so
give me
look.
some African Americans in the motherfucking 1800s, nigga.
So his question was, show him African Americans in the 1800s. So this is a news article from the Times-Picayune in New Orleans around 1885. This is talk about Black people celebrating something called African American Day and Emancipation Day. This used to take place on January 1st. And legend has it, this tradition started January 1st, 1863. So Top Cats, did you not know this? What is it? What are you talking about?
Break that lane, I'm trying to make a name, but my sick thoughts got me by my brain. I'm searching for my, how ironic how we hustle for the same, but get bracelets for trying to get a chain, and they want to take up.
Yeah, we're back with another installation of lies told by black people to black people. And this one is about Paul Cuffey. I'm going to let you hear what this guy, Monty Bay, says. He's just totally off. His research and it's horrible. But listen to what he says, and I'm going to correct everything.
Make it bigger. Paul Slocum. Now, this is going to become even more clear because we're going to we're going to unmask other individuals on censuses. Okay, right there, family. Paul Slocum, the 1790 census. If anyone has access to Ancestry or MyHeritage, you can research that up yourself. Paul Slocum, aka Paul Cuffey, on the 1790 census. Right? So therefore, this highly disputes that he was of African descent or African nativity, because they were not allowed to be citizens pre-1870. So remember, we always have to apply the law to history to confirm whether or not something's true or untrue or sound or unsound, etc.
So, yeah, you heard it. He said that was Paul Cuffey under Paul Slocum when he's really under the wrong census because Paul Cuffey lived in Westport. I'm going to prove that too. And he was not labeled a free white person. He was labeled under all free persons, right? So we're going to go down here and we're going to see Paul Cuff. He's listed as Cuff, and he's living with 7 people. How do I know he's living with 7 people? Well, because the history says it. Let's go to one of these pages that documents his history. And if we go all the way down to where he was living at the time, he was living in Westport, and he was living with 7 people. All right, here it says 6 years later, Cuffey purchased a small property of 35 square rods on the bank of East Branch of the Westport River in 89. So then it goes on to reference the 1790 census, saying where he lived, and also that he was listed as Cuff, and it was 7 family members. It was cut and dry. Amani Bay didn't look up nothing. He just was looking for what he was looking for because he has confirmation bias. He doesn't want to be black or African, and he wants to push this anti-black, anti-African rhetoric that he gets from white people. That's just it. He's a liar, and I don't know how Autonomous One let him get up on his show and keep repeating these lies. I thought he was a real dude, real stand-up dude, and I see a lot of people. They just give Amani Bay a lot of credit because he talks proper and all that, but his research is so shoddy, it's ridiculous. And then here's the census that Amani Bay showed, where it says Paul Slocum living in Bristol. Not even the same place. Nice try. Another thing Amani Bay is lying about is this whole thing, how he's trying to interpretate his own history. So yes, in 1870, African people did not get citizenship until then, but he forgets states can make their own rules. So in 1780, Paul and his brother John petitioned Massachusetts government to give the rights of African people and Native Americans the right to vote or stop taxing them. In 1783, they got that right. So in 1790, he pops up on the census as a person, a free person. Doesn't have to be white. Like Amani Bay, like, why are you leaving this out? Also, in this petition that him and his brother put together, they go on to say that we, being chiefly of the African extract, chiefly meaning mostly, and by reason of long bondage and hard slavery, I thought slavery didn't happen, we have been deprived of enjoying the profits of our labor or the advantages of inheriting estates from our parents. They're not able to enjoy inherited wealth. But Amani Bay is a liar. So let's look. And then we can even see that it was signed by John Cuffey, Paul Cuffey, and some other people. Yes, and everything I put, I'm going to have the source for because something got to give. And like I said, Autonomous One, you keep having this guy on your show lying to the people. So what are you doing? So basically, we need to know when the lie is going to stop. When y'all going to stop lying?
Break that lane, I'm trying to